Columbia, roll on. Roll on, Columbia, roll on. Your power is turning our darkness to dawn. Roll on, Columbia, roll on. Welcome everybody to a gorgeous night out while staying in. My name is Paul Blackburn. I was the mayor of Hood River for 5 years and have lived in the Gorge for 20 years, raised our kids here, and I'm so pleased to be here tonight with One Gorge to present this evening, which we've usually had in Salem and Olympia. And this year we're doing, like everything else, via Zoom. Michael, how are we? Begin again. Roll on, Columbia, roll on. Roll on, Columbia, roll on. And your power is turning our darkness to dawn. Roll on, Columbia, roll on. Welcome everybody to the gorgeous night out while staying in like everything else this year. My name is Paul Blackburn. I was the mayor of Hood River for 5 years. We've lived here for 20 years and raised our kids here. The Gorge is our home, and we're so glad that you chose to join us tonight here. One Gorge is such an important organization to gather people together, to advocate businesses and organizations and public agencies and individuals to highlight the needs of this beautiful area that we call home. It doesn't stay beautiful by itself. It's a spectacular national treasure, but it takes a lot of work to advocate for and make good choices to provide good stewardship to the place that we love. This evening we're going to hear from the legislators who are making difficult decisions about how to prioritize those. We're going to hear from the folks at One Gorge to help us understand their role in this. And we're going to give away some gifts, so don't go away. Thanks for coming. And now we're going to hear from the folks at One Gorge about the overall program.
Welcome to the Gorge.
Welcome to the Columbia River Gorge.
Bienvenidos. Welcome to our hermoso Columbia Gorge.
Hi, I'm Genevieve Scholl. I'm the Special Projects Manager for the Port of Hood River and a steering committee member for the One Gorge Advocacy Group. I want to thank you for your continued support. We want to have a conversation about how we can work together to make our gorge and state economies healthier and more connected.
One Gorge as an organization has been created to deal with the issues that need to be addressed in both Salem and Olympia.
There are 6 priority projects we're here to talk to you about. Capital projects, transportation, land use, public safety, the Warm Springs water crisis, and wildfires.
My name is Kevin Greenwood. I'm the Bridge Replacement Project Director for the Port of Hood River. And I'm here to communicate the need to replace the 100-year-old Hood River White Salmon Bridge.
We cannot exist here in the Columbia Gorge without our critical interstate bridges. So 6 million people a year are going across those bridges. We've learned also that if we don't get those things buttoned up and replaced and really rock solid and open up our access more, we could be in a world of trouble.
The replacement bridge would allow for emergency vehicles to more easily move across the river into both states, which will provide relief for disasters such as wildfires, derailments, or other issues that may lock up the state and federal highway systems on both sides of the river.
And that is the only thoroughfare into the state of Washington when we need to divert traffic. And it becomes very, very dangerous. It's a parking lot on the bridge. We have traffic backed up for miles.
This is a critical piece of infrastructure for the fruit industry, timber industry, the aeronautic industry, tourism.
Those bridges are just essential.
We are working to build a strong network of transit in the Columbia Gorge.
There's about 5 different transit systems run by the various counties within the gorge, and they're trying to link them all together into one unified system.
All of the 5 county public transportation providers rely on state and federal resources to keep the systems going.
Yes, and CAT links up with all the local public transit systems, and we make 6 trips a day to the Portland Gateway Transit Center.
2 million gorge visitors a year. So just flat out right, we have tiny little communities. Our county is 25,000, but we get 2 million gorge visitors a year. We get another 5 million to Mount Hood National Forest.
And a way to alleviate parking congestion is to have public transit options that can drop us off at trails and allow us to better take care of our natural resources.
So there's both sides of the river. You have rail, you have stuff on barges, you have stuff on semi-trucks. There's an awful lot of transportation going in and out of this community.
We ask our legislators to be proactive and include public transit in all plans, not as an afterthought.
So transportation challenges are the most important problem, I think, that we may face in a disaster.
Wildfire is a huge issue. When we really need to think about it is when we're working on transportation plans and figuring out how to allocate dollars. How do we make sure that we have adequate space and travel routes in place for residents around the state, and especially here in the Gorge, because we really only have an east-west corridor. Obviously, this Columbia River creates a lot of activity for public safety related incidents. So while we may be separated by a wide expanse of water, the fact is that we're helping each other day in and day out.
We've seen, our share of wildfires in the Gorge area on both sides of the river, but in 2017 we experienced Eagle Creek Fire, which affected Oregon and Washington in the Gorge, and that's going to continue to be an issue.
We've seen fires move from normal restorative fires into the era of mega fires, which are unstoppable and create damage of likes of which we've never seen.
We had a real bad fire season, and within our region, the human agony that goes along those issues when they watch the homes burn down, or in our case, the trees. It was a bad year, okay? And the water crisis just added worse to that thought. Water's life. But water goes beyond life. Water is the fish in the consumption of food. Life is what we grow. It is life for us to survive. It's also every growth, the air that you breathe, the rain that falls, the ocean that we visit, the rivers that we see floating. Everything is about water. That 1 gallon of water that we take for granted, or that 1 cup of water that's so precious to consume, is what's needed here in Warm Springs. We could certainly use help from the legislators and any other agencies, foundations that could assist our tribes with help.
One Gorge strongly supports funding and policy solutions to help the people of Warm Springs restore their access and infrastructure for clean water.
We're 40 miles from Portland, Oregon, and this is a playground for people from the urban area to come. 99% of our calls for searches or rescues are people that do not reside here.
Search and rescue takes an incredible amount of coordination, resources, assistance. We've got oftentimes 50 plus searchers on the ground that we're managing. And sometimes these situations go on for days.
These are issues that a lot of people forget, that with increased usage on the forest, the costs have gone up dramatically.
So this place is inundated in the spring, summer, and fall with people who are here to enjoy what the federal government and the states have set aside for us to enjoy.
So I think the way that the legislature can help us is really to encourage the Gorge Commission to move forward in policies that are balanced.
We're also advocating a lot for the infrastructure that is needed to keep the urban areas functioning and economically growing. We talk about the bridges as linking the 2 states and the amount of traffic and movement there is between the 2 states, both in commerce and in just general recreation.
So we want a healthy environment, a healthy scenic area, and we also want a healthy economy, because as our economies are healthy, the whole scenic area will be healthy. And this is really a long-term issue. This is not something that we're trying to do for tomorrow or the next day. It's something we're trying to do for the next decade, the next 20 years, and the next 50 years.
All of our counties on both sides of the river, east to west, north to south, Washington, Oregon, we all work really well together.
And so we really need the help from the legislatures to help us with sustainable long-term solutions.
I think what's really important is to forget what state you're in and forget what county you work for, what agency you're with. You know, this whole interconnected river corridor, 2 states, all those different counties, that whole area needs to be treated as an ecosystem. And we really need to look at the needs across that area.
I hope that you'll find time to come back and visit the gorge and find a way to recreate and enjoy yourself.
So come out and visit us.
Wear your mask and come join us on the CAT bus so you can text and ride.
Come and visit us in the gorge.
Fun to see my friends and neighbors in that video. Hope that gives you a good kind of overview about what One Gorge is all about. Next, we're going to hear from our legislators. We're going to start with the Washington side of the river, and we're going to start with Senator Curtis King. Senator?
Hello, this is Senator Curtis King, and thank you for joining us for a gorgeous night out. We are really we feel badly that we're not able to do this in person, but very much appreciate the fact that you've taken the time to join us remotely. This has always been a great event when we've been able to hold it in Olympia, and look forward to next year and being able to see you in person and greet you in person. But we hope that you enjoy this virtual event tonight, and thank you so much for joining us.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, shit. They just asked to start my video.
I know about the high wage that the elected politicians don't get, so
I
have committed folks who are willing to take that role. I did my
no,
job.
like I've been given it. I don't
really appreciate it. Also, honestly, for me, it's very, very instructive to keep the big picture, because as the mayor of Hood River, I know all about this side of the river, but over in Washington, the important work that we're doing collaboratively is what makes the gorge a great place. Next, we're going to hear from Representative Gina Mosbrucker. We're doing Zoom here, so, you know, we're figuring it out. We're hoping that she'll be with us real soon. They're telling me to keep going, so we're just trying to reach the representative as quickly as we can. Representative Gina Mosbrucker from the Washington side. It doesn't seem like it's connecting right now.
Representative Mosbrucker is away for a second. We'll be here in a few minutes.
Great. Okay, Representative Mosbrucker will be with us in a few minutes. We're going to go to the next person in the queue. So next we're going to hear from Representative Chris Pori. More banjo. So Woody Guthrie loved this place. He wrote a bunch of good songs about it. You get another verse now. Green Douglas firs where the water cuts through, down wild mountains and
no, it's them screwing up now.
the Canadian Northwest to the ocean so blue. Roll on, Columbia, roll on. Roll on, Columbia, roll on. Roll on, Columbia, roll on, and your power is turning our darkness to dawn. Roll on, Columbia, roll on.
Folks, I'm sorry, but Representative Corey's having issues too, so we're trying to work on it.
We have with us Gail Sackman. From Representative Chris Corey's staff. Gail, thanks so much for being with us. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
We'd love to hear your message if you could.
He wants to get on, and we're having problems with the link. So can we do it in a few minutes again? That's the wrong link.
Okay, we're sorting this out on our end, folks. I'm getting live messages in my ear just as we're rolling along. We're trying to figure out how to get the best program together for you. They're going to tell me just as soon as we know who's on next. We were hoping to have the Washington legislators first. We may need to skip to Oregon. Yep, we're going to check and see with Senator Thompson, switching over to the Oregon side, to the people I get to vote for. Switching over to Senator Chuck Thompson. Do we have you, Senator
Hello there.
Thompson?
Can you hear me?
I understand we have Senator Thompson. Let's hear from you, Senator.
I am here. I only do phone because I've been told that during the COVID virus, I look better with a mask on, and I look better if I just get on by phone. So I, like Senator King, want to welcome everybody to the Gorge Night Out. I can't tell you exactly how many, somebody please tell me how many years we have done this. Since the very beginning, it has grown and grown and grown. The amount of participation by legislators in Salem has grown ever since we started this too. We had to move to a larger facility last year. I'm disappointed, of course, that we're in this COVID situation and can't be meeting in person, because that's what it's all about, sharing stories of the Gorge with the legislators. And I'm sure the Washington legislators feel the same way. And the more we do this, the better and more participation we get. All the vendors that aren't able to be there tonight, all the great beer and wine and goodies that we have on display from the Gorge is great. And it's just been a great avenue for the people in the Gorge to come down to Salem and get a chance to put a name to a face and talk about legislation and talk about their issues with the legislators. I'm glad that, and I know this takes a lot of effort, probably more effort to do this virtually than it does in person. And I thank everybody that put this together, and hopefully by, for sure by next year, we'll be back in person and doing this live again. So I want to thank everybody that's involved with this for making this Zoom meeting happen. I know what I've witnessed, it takes much more work to do this, and I just want to tell you how much I appreciate it. Thank you.
Senator Thompson, thanks so much for taking the time to be with us in the midst of your busy legislative session. Thanks for all the driving back and forth that you do between Hood River and Salem. I've talked to you about that a few times. It's a tough job, and it's a long commute. We really appreciate you taking the time to be with us, Senator.
Yeah, we're only coming down. We're only doing it.
We're going to go back over to the Washington side. We have with us, ready to talk, Representative Chris Corey from the state of Washington. Senator Corey? Nope, I misled you and I was misinformed. We don't have Representative Corey. Do we know who's coming up next, folks? Okay, and just a few clicks of the Zoom mouse, I think we are going to have Representative Corey. They tell me that's what's coming up next. Let's talk about the video we saw, the One Gorge video. Here in the gorge, that old derelict bridge is such a big concern. And we have Representative Corey. I see his smiling face. Representative Corey.
Hey, can you hear
coming.
me? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we
Awesome.
can. Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, Representative.
Well, hey, sorry for the technical troubles. I don't know what was going on there, but frankly, we got to hear some more banjo music, which frankly is way more entertaining than a politician speaking. So let's take the positive out of that. I'm actually over on the west side right now in probably the second most beautiful place in Washington State. Of course, the Columbia Gorge being the first. I'm just outside of Olympia and Yelm for the evening. So trying to get a taste of the gorge, but it's not quite as nice. So I just want to thank everyone for being on tonight. Obviously, we love doing this in Olympia. It's probably the highlight of my session as well as many others. You know, the work that One Gorge is doing to help make sure that the issues that are advocated for our communities down there are first and foremost, both here in Olympia as well as in Oregon. So thank you, everyone. I talked to you over email, phone, about issues that are pressing to our communities there. And it's just such an honor to be able to serve the Washington side in Olympia. So I'm going to shut up so you guys can probably hear some more decent music, which is much more entertaining than me. So thanks again.
Representative Mossbrucker, I see you've popped up on the screen. Can you hear me, Madam Representative? I don't hear you.
Can you hear us?
Yes, now I hear you, Representative Mossbrucker. Thank you so much for being with us.
Okay, let's try this. Thank you so
You're
much
on.
for your patience. You did an excellent job improv in the meantime, so thank you for that. This is the virtual world that we live in, and it's the world that we have been struggling with in session as well, sometimes when we're trying to vote. So I'm very grateful, and you get to experience what we're experiencing trying to work from here in our districts. But just wanted to say thank you so much. I'm really sad that we're not there all together. This is, of course, one of the most popular events from the most beautiful place, I would say, in the world. And just really grateful that you're here tonight and took the time. Next year will be double amazing to make up for this virtual world we're in order to stay safe. As far as a wildfire, I'm really grateful for our House Bill 1168 that passed last night. It has to do with wildfire and what we're going to do throughout the gorge in the state of Washington. It sets up an aviation support plan. It makes sure that it develops mapping tools. It makes sure that it creates a small forest program. It also makes sure that we are accountable for the funds that get spent in this. And it looks at a forest health assessment treatment framework that we're going to be working on. So that does address the concerns that we all have on the deadly structure. We lose structures, we lose beautiful forest, and we lose, of course, on both sides of the river, unfortunately, we lose the ability to get control of those wildfires for lots of different reasons that hopefully this group will study. So House Bill 1168 passed last night. It'll go to the Senate, and I think Senator King can help on that side. Secondly, I was asked to mention the bridge. We have a priority project. We were asked which transportation projects are the most important this session. And again, the primary focus has really been COVID and how we're going to react from that. So, but this is also on our list. We were given projects and we got to prioritize them. I'm pretty sure that all of us from the 14th district have prioritized the project regarding the Washington State contribution for replacing the aged bridge between White Salmon and Hood River. So that doesn't have a fiscal amount on it yet. It says to be determined in our transportation request, because we're still working, and it's really great when we have so many people come together to make sure that we're addressing this in a unified way. And I really appreciate Oregon legislature, also paying attention to this issue, and us working together to get, that absolutely critical mode of transportation for tourism and for jobs. So really happy to be here. I really wish we were in person, and I'm grateful to each of you for taking time. And thank you for your patience with the technical difficulties that, of course, we've been dealing with in session as well.
Representative, thank you so much for taking the time and sorting through all the Zoom and all that. It's the world we live in. The good news is, two pieces of good news. One is we're going to give away some prizes now, and the other is I have an in real life person. So I'm masked up and I'm inviting White Salmon Mayor Marla Keithler. Thanks so much for coming, Mayor.
Hi, Mayor Blackburn, and hello, everyone. I just have to say you definitely have won the MVP award.
Well,
having to cover, but very impressive. And I feel bad. I get to come on and just bring prizes.
Hey, as long as this goes well.
Job.
If this goes well, we're happy.
But I will say, I think it's a nice reminder, the hopping that you had to do from the Oregon side to the Washington side to hear from representatives tonight, because it really showed virtually too how tied together we are and how important that bridge is.
Exactly.
Whether it's the physical bridge or a Zoom bridge, more or less.
Here in the Gorge, this is our neighborhood, and the edge of Oregon is a whole lot further away than the edge of Washington is.
Yes, very true. Well, and I think Representative Mossberger was mentioning this as well, but it's odd actually to stand next to you. I feel like this is probably my first in-person meeting since a year ago. It's odd not having a mute button, but kind of nice. Maybe not for you. Maybe you'll want to mute me. But, one of the fun things that we do when we are able to come to the Capitals each year for One Gorge is be able to share some of the businesses and recreation opportunities through prizes that we can offer you that our businesses so generously donate. And, I don't think it's lost on anyone that we're still dealing with the economic downturn from the pandemic, and our businesses have been incredible dealing with that throughout and still are. And so we didn't feel like it was right to really try to ask or procure those prizes. But I think it says a lot about our community, the fact that businesses still came forward and wanted to be able to share some of the things that make this community so wonderful that we love to call home, and really want to encourage you to come visit and see. So we do have 3 prizes tonight. We're going to draw one right now. We get to go to the North Shore, the Washington side, to start. And if you do hear your name, someone from One Gorge staff will reach out to you via email. And we hope that we can see you down here as conditions improve and travel becomes hopefully much more doable. So to start the evening, it's a little bit of wine tasting, a fun Gorge activity for many. It includes a tasting for up to 4 people at Hawkins Cellars at their tasting room in Underwood, Washington, along with the museum pass. And the crazy thing about the museum pass, we actually have 9 museums throughout the Gorge that participate. So once you guys have had a nice picnic and some wine, you can head out and learn more about the history. And since you might not retain all the history you're learning after a museum visit and wine tasting, we have a great book that you get to take home. And I would love to just give a shout out to the actual authors of this book, because they are helping to make this magic happen tonight behind the scenes. So Mayor Blackburn, if you could do the honors and draw a name.
So this first prize, the winner is Susan Champlain. So we'll be in touch with you to get you your stuff.
And cheers. Enjoy your glass of wine.
So again, wine tasting in Underwood, and with a picnic basket, plus the museum pass, plus the historic highway book. Thank you so much for to the donors. And Mayor, thanks for joining me.
Yeah.
We'll see you back in a few minutes, I think.
No problem. I'll hit my own mute button and disappear for a moment.
Okay. Now on the schedule, we're moving to the Oregon side. And I think next we should have Senator Finley. Is that where we are? Okay. We have Representative Anna Williams from Oregon. Thanks for being with us, Representative Williams.
Hi, welcome to Gorgeous Nights. I'm Representative Anna Williams. I represent Oregon's House District 52, which includes Hood River, Clackamas, and Multnomah counties, and the Oregon side of the Columbia River Gorge. I'm excited to see you all here tonight. Thank you for joining us in this virtual event. Wanted to talk a little bit about some of my personal legislative priorities that relate to the Gorge's legislative priorities. So Number one is ensuring that our search and rescue providers are better funded, if not fully funded. So I have a bill going through the Emergency Management Committee that will create a fund within the Oregon State Sheriff's Association to help with training and coordination regarding search and rescue. As you saw in the video, about 99% of the search and rescues that happen in the gorge are for people who live outside of the Columbia River Gorge. But those services are all funded through taxes paid by locals. And so we need a way to really supplement that system so that we can continue to welcome the 2 million visitors a year that we have here in this district, and the 5 million visitors that we have up in the Mount Hood National Forest. Make sure they're safe, make sure they get back to where they came from, and that everyone can come out and continue to enjoy the natural beauty that we offer here. I'm also continuing to focus on supports for small businesses, especially restaurants, breweries, things like that, that really make the social fabric of our community, that are welcoming to our visitors from outside of the Columbia River Gorge, and that are the people who have been working hard through COVID to stay safe and to look out for their neighbors through grants with Business Oregon, and by ensuring that the funding that we get from the federal government is appropriately channeled to the businesses in our district. Also focusing on Hood River and Cascade Locks Bridge funding, trying to make sure that the Hood River Replacement Bridge has what it needs to continue to move that project forward, and continuing to focus on funding for the Bridge of the Gods to do the work that they need to do to adjust it and make it a better bridge for the way that it has continued to be used. Looking at the transportation network as a whole, as we mentioned in the video, there are 5 different counties that coordinate with public transportation, and we need to continue to support that effort so that not only can people get out here to enjoy the gorge, but people in the gorge themselves can get around safely and use public transportation in a way that reduces emissions, increases efficiency, and continues to protect what's beautiful and valuable about the Columbia River Gorge. Another big priority we're going to continue to address is recovering from the wildfires that we saw last season, and continuing to plan so that we don't see another tragic wildfire in the future if possible. Looking at ways to ensure that the FEMA funding comes in effectively and efficiently, and also that the state funds that are available are channeled where they're most needed to communities that really need to restore and recover. With regard to the Warm Springs water crisis, I'm working on a bill in the Water Committee that will address drinking water quality across the state, and I'm very hopeful it will also assist Warm Springs in getting their needs met. It doesn't all have to go through the federal government. The state can, frankly, invest money in their water infrastructure and continue to work directly with them. They know what they need, and they've been telling us what they need for years, and the state is, I think, taking those needs more seriously now than they have in the past. And so I'm hopeful that we'll see significant infrastructure investment for them. And I know the Water Committee is taking their needs very seriously. It's part of the larger conversation about rural water supply and rural water systems in general that I am engaging in. One of the bills that I have going through that committee is actually requiring DEQ and the Oregon Health Authority to better regulate for drinking water quality and not just to protect fish. There's a lot of overlap there with protecting fish, but there are some things that are solely about drinking water quality that we're not working on at all because it's not in their mandates. And so I'm trying to change the mandate to both of those agencies to say drinking water quality is as important as fish protection. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, and I look forward to welcoming you in the Columbia River Gorge during your next visit. Please don't hesitate to come on out and visit us. There's a lot to do and see out here.
Yep. Thank you, Representative Williams. Again, I'm in your district, so I'm more familiar with you than some of the other legislators here tonight. We really appreciate you taking the time to be with us. I get to welcome back the mayor again and give away some more prizes.
Yes, and it's almost fitting, since we just heard from Representative Williams, that our next gift actually includes some activities and adventures in her neck of the woods. So one of you lucky individuals will get one off-peak night at a hotel room at Cooper Spur Mountain Resort, plus a $50 dining certificate at Crooked Tree Tavern.
Yum.
And the Historic Highway book.
Oh, I have it here. We got the book again.
We'll have to make sure you don't sneak those into your briefcase on the way out, and that they
Promise.
really make it to their recipients.
I promise. All right, so we're choosing out the second name for this package. We have Ken Helm. Congratulations, Ken. We'll be in touch and get you your ski stuff and your eating stuff and your book. And then we have one more prize.
I know, I feel like Santa. This is kind of a nice...
You've got your little basket.
A nice job I acquired. So another prize, last one, is actually 2 lift tickets to Mount Hood Meadows Ski Resort, plus a one-night stay and breakfast for 2 at the Best Western Plus Hood River Inn. We might be a little partial since this is in our neck of the woods, but we do think this is perhaps the Best Western in the country. And once again, the historic highway book.
Wonderful. And one more lucky winner is Tanner Lloyd. Congratulations, Tanner. You get the ski and stay package.
So once again, in case you joined late, if you did win one of the prizes, someone will email you so you get information on how to receive all of your wonderful prizes and enjoy the gorge for yourself.
Great. Thanks again for coming over, Mayor.
Yes.
People laugh when I say that I look at White Salmon across the river. That bridge is so short, and the gorge economy is so unified, and it's really, honestly, this evening to be more in touch with the folks across the river for cities working together as smoothly as possible, just like the state legislators do. It's a pleasure to work with you.
Yeah, you as well. And I think, you bring up a really good point. That bridge is truly such a lifeline. And I think that, this year, especially with everything else that changed for so many of us, that was one constant that is so critical for a lot of people's jobs and commerce and, participation across the communities and really making us connected. So
people used to ask me about how the job was going, and I said, I tell you what, I don't want to be the mayor when that bridge falls down. Can you imagine? Boy.
No.
So
no.
I think you have an award to give.
Yes.
Here's this. I'll take your basket.
Yes, I don't want to
there you go.
Drop anything, but I think it was mentioned to start this evening, but obviously at the heart of One Gorge, it really is about collaboration and communication, and we've certainly been challenged this year on the communication front, all of us in so many ways, but I think that one shining beacon that came out is really all the collaborative efforts of a group like this, and so we decided it was appropriate to actually, this is I think the first year that we're having it, but introduce an award, a Legislator of the Year award, and this feels very appropriate to give and recognize Senator Curtis King for his efforts on the bridge. This is something we've talked about it, and if you've lived here or visited here, you know it all too well, but he has really been key in bringing forward the efforts to form a bi-state working group and really bring progress to the realization of seeing a White Salmon Hood River Bridge realized. So we want to appreciate and recognize his efforts. All of the residents that call the Gorge home are grateful and appreciative. So Senator Curtis King, it's been a pleasure working with you and look forward to doing it in the future. And we would like to recognize you as our 2021 Legislator of the Year.
As we've endured the Zoom craziness, I'm just going to check in. Do we have anybody else we're waiting on? Great. So Woody Guthrie gets to have the closing bid again. We appreciate One Gorge for hosting tonight. We appreciate the legislators who fit it into their busy schedule. I know that they're talking to us from the Capitol, from their busy sessions. When I wake up in the morning, I think often about the author E.B. White, who said that there's part of the world that you want to savor and part of the world that you need to save. And it's those conflicting motivations that can make it hard to plan the day. That's true nowhere else more than it is in the Gorge. What a treasure we have here. And thanks to the folks who are working real hard to make sure it's here for the next 7 generations. This is the only song I know that has Hood River in the lyrics, so here we go. Many great rivers add power to you. The Yakima, the Snake, and the Klickitat too. The Sandy, the Willamette, and the Hood River too. Roll on, Columbia, roll on. Thanks for coming. Thanks, One Gorge. See you around.
And I hope that you'll find time to come back and visit the gorge and find a way to recreate and enjoy yourself.
So come out and visit us.
Wear your mask and come join us on the Cat Bus so you can text and ride.
Come and visit us in the Gorge.
you.